This bad boy's going to be jam-packed. We have PPG results. We have a breakdown out of participants out of, I believe, the UK Extravaganza. And we have some deck lists for base. So make sure you guys are subscribed so you guys don't miss out on anything that we cover. There should be a stream this evening about 8, 9 o'clock EST. So if you guys want to come by and say hello, I'll be there. We're having a good old time. So let's dig on into an information-packed video, shall we? Alright, so I'm going to be starting off with the informational breakdown out of the PPG this weekend. I believe they usually have 66 players due to seating and spacing and things like that right now. So top 8's kind of interesting. So we had one Shadal Dogmatica actually ended up winning the event. It's Andres Torres. I mean, I shouldn't need to say that this man is literally a powerhouse, alright? Like, this guy does so much craziness. So this, we'll cover the deck here in a second. We had one Invoked Dogmatica as well. And then, of course, things kind of break down for what you guys are really used to, which is 2 Zodiac Eldritch, which I thought that this variant was dead. Like, last Extravaganza, I've said this multiple times, it was nowhere. All right, like, you had Sky Striker come into play over this, and then you have 2 Virtual World, which doesn't really surprise me. We did get the new pot being legal now, which adds consistency to these decks. And then, of course, we had 2 Drytron in the top cut as well. Not an overall bad breakdown. No Prank Kids. I know there's a Prank Kids deck that got 13th place, which doesn't really surprise me all that much. I think that that's kind of cool overall, but your breakdown looks pretty reminiscent of what you would expect. Now, that being said, we're going to look at the top 8 deck list here out of this. The first list here is Mr. Andre's list. This is going to be your Shadal Invoked little fun package here. With, you know, Dogmatica. So you basically, you have the Shadal engine, a little bit more relevant here. That way you can stun the opponent through Windows. I can't stress this enough, but Winda's a very good card right now. A lot of players don't actually play anything to really counteract this card, so whatever you can put on the field to kind of detour the opponent is really good. Also, Alistair giving you access to Macabas and further protection on the field. Whoo-wee! It's definitely worth it. This is different, though, from what I kind of expected. I think a lot of players look at something like this and they're like, oh, yeah, by the way, this is kind of how we're, you know, setting up our metagame at this point in time. You know, this is what we're doing, blah, blah, blah. Nah, this game plan was so much different for countering the meta. So, once again, gotta love Winda here. So, congratulations for winning the event, Andres. I definitely like your list a lot. Second place here, we have Jeremy Mitchell's just standard Invoked Dogmatica. Now, Wonder Maximus rolling back into the fray here. How many players have looked at this format and went, oh, by the way, Invoked Dogmatica is long dead? Nope. Coming back into the fray for this event, Jeremy said, all right, we're going to do this. We have Maximus. I think a lot of players have kind of stopped pushing towards the Maximus side of the metagame. So it's going to be one of those things. You're going to see the threshold of the metagame let go of Maximus for a little bit, and then they're going to return back to it. So very nice to see here that we got some love here for this old one-card engine here. Both of these lists, by the way, have not played really anything spicy yet. Now, that being said, we move on into the third list here, which is going to be, my favorite, Zodiac Eldritch. Now, this new list did use the Pot of Prosperity here. Mr. Michael Bond here really got a level of consistency boost to this deck, because now you can filter through whatever you don't need for a certain matchup. You can, the cool thing about the new pot was, if you don't want this resource, throw it away. All right, I don't think I'm going to need that this game. Just throw it aside. I don't need to make a Link Spider for this game. Sure, no problem. Toss it aside, and you can make your plays. The pot adds that level of consistency to the deck, and I do not think that anything about this deck is too different than the rest of the metagame. The only thing that's changed here is the pot adds that level of consistency to what we want for the metagame. With that being said, next up we have Ezekiel Carnanza's list here. This is new virtual world. This is playing 2 pots with 2 desires. I've heard a lot of people pushing for 1 new pot, 3 desires. This one's on a 2-2 split. We are playing 1-2-2, and then we are playing 1 copy of the new trap card, and then we did cut a little Chuchi down, so now we have access to both of the trap cards in the deck. The only major things that we got out of this set for Virtual World were consistency upgrades. Alright, like, we've joked about the deck losing to itself for how long now? Now we've added that safety net here to allow us a nice little chance to be more consistent. So Ezekiel made top 4 with this, highest finishing Virtual World. Next up, we got to give all the credit to the Virtual World decks. So the first one here is Hamoro Alaman's list. And I do not see anything too crazy that sticks out to me about this. We did not actually play the new pot in this deck. Everything looks massively standard in this list. No real major changes here. So Hamuro, still showing that the deck's consistent. The fact that this did not make it further in Top Cut is kind of interesting. Then we also have Enrique Magno's list. Same thing here, we have a Zodiac Eldritch list. Interesting enough, though, we are playing the 1 copy of the Black Eld Elixir. I know a lot of people don't like this card, and they're like, oh, the card's trash. I can make an argument for either side of this right now, but it's an interesting little tech choice to see what you can pull off. This build's a little bit more hand trap heavy than some of the previous ones, but I do like what this list looks like it brings to the table as well. Next up, we have Matthew Count's interesting Drytron list. Once again, this list is also not playing the pot. You would figure the Drytron would be the one deck that you would see going towards the new pots. Maybe they just didn't have the chance to get them or anything, but once again, these lists are so standard, it's actually crazy. Once again, if you're living underneath a rock, Instant Fusion has recently found its way into these decks, and it's become a staple at this point for the metagame. And then we also have Brian, I'm not even going to say his last name. We did not play, interesting enough here, there's no 2-2 in this deck. We are playing triple copies of the new pot, though. We are not playing any copies of Desires, interesting enough, with this. I guess that just is a consistency thing. He didn't want to bother with the Desires. But, alright, I'll take an approach either way on this. I do like this list, though. Either way, like I said, you pick your poison. You want to play Desires? The Extrav build that was starting to come up with a few players that were testing it, it's pretty much looked like it's been scrapped at this point in time, which I guess is interesting. So that wraps up our top 8 out of the PPG this weekend, and it's definitely a very interesting little walk through Cakeland here. Next up here, we have the UK main event for the Remote Duel Extravaganza. I do not have the breakdown for this. I've got a couple of lists that were walking around, but the little breakdown here. 132 players walked into the Thunderdome for this event, and it looks like the biggest represented deck in the room was Virtual World. This doesn't surprise me at all, considering the fact that Virtual World's been... The UK loves this deck, from what I've heard. That's kind of interesting. We had 18 Eldritch variants, 9 Zodiac. We had 4 Trap variants, which I guess is pure. 2 Numeron, 1 Sky Striker, 1 Live Twin, and 1 Dragoon. The Live Twin variant's definitely taken a back seat for a lot of this format. We had 9 Tri-Brigade variants. It's also interesting to note that the Tri-Brigade variant didn't do anything at the PPG. But we had 7 Lurklisk, 1 Ancient Warrior, by the way. I got to talk about that in another video. Then we had 1 Zodiac Tri-Brigade. Shadal, we had 5 Trap variants, 2 Dogmatic, and 1 Invoked for 8. Only 8 Drytron. Drytron, what are you doing? What are you doing, Drytron, bro? I don't get it. 5 Dogmatica Invoked. Alright. 5 Unchained. Unchained's still a very good budget deck. I like that. Then we had 5 Dinosaur. Dinosaur. That deck's stinky now, alright? Now we can say, have you read Misk, and make a reference to it being bad. Alright. We have 3 Phantom Knights, 1 Burning Abyss, 1 Orcust. Who's playing Burning Abyss Orcust? Scribe Dino's not even out yet. Calm down. We had 3 mutants. What are you guys doing? 3 Cyber Dragon, only 3 Dragon Link, and we had 39 other decks. Dragon Link, where you guys at? I'm going to pass it on over to myself here because I have 2 other lists that I want to talk about for this video. All right, so I got a backdoor in 2 lists here. The first list is going to be ABC. This was JJ Stark's list. He made top 8 with this list out of 120 duelists out of the Extravaganza for his particular region. He 2-0'd PK, lost to Subterra Numeron, 2-1 Invoked Dogmatica, 2-0'd Mystic Mine. He drew versus Dark Magician. Yes, I bricked hard game 2 and 3. And we were at something like 5 minutes from time, but he had a lot of things to do last second, just for nothing. The only way to burn me out were Dragoons, but ABC banished Verte, so yeah. Game 6 was 2-1 against PK, and a 2-1 to Praying Kids. Huh. That's actually kind of interesting. So outside of this, I saw there's an interesting tech choice here with Silent Universe. All link monsters you control gain 300 attack. And once per turn, you can target 1 monster, graveyard, shuffle it into the deck. And if this card on the field is destroyed by card effects, send all monsters in the extra monster zones to the graveyard. This is kind of interesting. He also said that the new pot was okay for this. I'm not sure yet if this card is better or nah of Desire. I brick hard twice all tourney, and there was only one time where the pot gave me a hanger to launch my combo. So that's kind of interesting. So this is a nice little interesting little breakdown for potentially what you might see as a new ABC deck. And then the last thing we have here is a 7-0 list for Phantom Knights. And I'm not going to go too crazy in depth with this, but just know that Torn Scales is an absurdly good card, and the boards that you can still generate with this, you know. Also, IP Masquerena. I do think, though, that this deck still has a lot of potential, and a lot of players are really underestimating, excuse me, what this deck can do. So this is the 7-0 variant out of the weekend. Not too much I'm going to add into this, but make sure you guys subscribe so you guys can check out more awesome content with meta breakdowns and things like that. And I'll see your beautiful faces back here later on in the day for some more cool content. Peace out, guys. Have a Thank you, patrons, for making the ride never truly end. Without you guys' support, well, I would probably be doing Truffle Shuffle videos for a living. Guys, please check out VanCool40 for all of your Cardfight Vanguard content brought to you by MCool40. And if you are looking to pick up singles, check out mcoolgames.com for your trading card game needs. Thanks for watching, everybody.